One of my coworkers gave me this idea for this video, and it's a pretty good one. Well, at least I'm gonna enjoy talking about it because, well, I lived through a pretty extreme case of what he's talking about. He came up to me, he's like, Dillon, I'm kind of having like a hard time with school. Not really like understanding it, but doing it. He's like, I find myself just doing fuck all instead of doing my schoolwork, which is kind of funny because my first thought was, damn, 130 pounds ago, I found myself eating fuck all instead of tracking calories and exercising. You know, I always knew in the back of my mind that in order to lose weight, the point was less food and move more, but I don't think I really understood the gravity of the scenario until I started, which is the hardest part. The hardest part about anything is starting. When I looked at myself in the mirror at 130 pounds, I'm like, whoa, it's a lot. Just like a lot of people in school probably look at their textbook or their big stack of homework and they're like, whoa, that's a lot. But guess what? I'm right in front of you, 130 pounds down. So you can do it. It is very, very, very achievable. Not just weight loss, but whatever your pursuit. Sorry, it's been a long day. Whatever your pursuit is, whether it's school or you're trying to get a promotion at a job, weight loss. If you're trying to pursue weight loss, it'll probably take the longest, especially if you're trying to lose triple digits. But if you're trying to prevail through your schoolwork, get everything done, and understand the material, I'll tell you right now, it's a lot easier than you think it is. Now, when I started losing weight, I didn't just lose weight like that, Kind of, we'll use the analogy of jelly beans in the jar. Now, in order to get a jar full of jelly beans, aka lose the whole 130 pounds, or get through your whole stack of homework and learn all the material, it's gonna be a little tricky if you're trying to rush the process and fill up your jar with jelly beans way too quick, because you gotta find the jelly beans, and finding them isn't easy. But if you can just put one jelly bean in that jar every day, before you know it, you got a full jar of jelly beans. And then you're gonna be moving on to filling up a whole nother jar, a whole nother goal, a whole nother step in your life. Now, I already said that the hardest part is starting. Dillon, how do you do that? Well, start small. There's no reason to go so crazy and try to make all the changes that you want to make at one time, because your brain's gonna be like, whoa, what the fuck are we doing? This isn't who we are. It's gonna shut that shit down real quick, and you're gonna be back to eating a fuck ton of food, playing video games, or doing fuck all. Excuse my French, by the way. But the hardest part is starting. When I started on my weight loss journey, you want to know how I tracked my calories? Well, first, I literally looked up on the internet how to lose weight. Step 1, type in the search bar, how to lose weight. And first thing that came up was a calorie deficit. And then the next link under that was a calorie deficit calculator. I was like, huh, I have nothing to lose. Let me put in my height, my weight, my age, my gender. I can do that. Easy. Took me 30 seconds. And then it spit out a number. And I was like, cool. If I eat this amount of calories, then I will lose 2 pounds a week. And all I have to do to make sure I'm eating said calories is turn whatever food item around and look at the number on the back, as well as the serving size. In school, I was pretty good at math. I just hated doing it. But to me, I'm like, dude, Dillon, if you can do fucking geometry, pre-al, I was a grade ahead in math. I'm like, Dillon, if you could be a grade ahead in math, then you can be a grade ahead in calorie counting. So what I did is I just kept a running total of my calories on my calculator app on my phone. If every time I'd open my phone, I'd go to the calculator app and I would just hit the plus sign, and then I would put in the amount of calories that I was about to eat and then hit equals. All the way until, well, my final total, which I think I was doing about 1,200 calories at first, which when you're 130 pounds, your body has access to so much body fat that it's like, all right, this isn't ideal, but we got plenty of food left over around the body, so I guess we're okay. Now, about a few months later, I had a couple cheat days, and I was like, all right, fine. Let's do 18 to 1900. That's probably a much better sweet spot. But long story short, start small. If you're trying to get through your class material, your schoolwork, or you're trying to take those next steps to get a promotion at your job or whatever it is, start small and make the goals to get there small too. Kind of stair step until you reach what you actually want, you know? Yeah, I wanted to lose 130 pounds, but I didn't tell myself that was my goal every day. Of course, I had it pinned in the back of my mind, but I took it one day at a time. Every day I woke up, I was like, okay, today we are going to eat this many calories. And then the next day, I would give myself the same goal. And then I would tell myself, okay, it's day 6. Tomorrow's gonna be day 7. Your goal is to do 1 whole week. And then I was like, all right, I did that. That means I can probably do 2 weeks. And then I just kept adding jelly beans to the jar. So make your goal small. Julian, sorry to name drop, but if you're trying to study and you find yourself doing fuck all, just make sure you stop yourself and then make one small goal. It can be very small, and make a series of them that lead to what you want. Step 1, turn off your game or pause it. Step 2, grab your homework assignment or your textbook, whatever material you're trying to learn. Step 3, open your textbook or begin to look at your homework. Step 4, grab your pencil or whatever utensil you need in order to complete said homework. Step 5, learn one new thing or complete one question of your assignment, or maybe even if you're trying to get yourself promoted to the job, just do one thing that gets you there a little closer. Because every time I failed on my weight loss journey, it's because I was like, all right, guys, we're locking in nothing but chicken and broccoli. I'm running 4 miles a day. And then 3 days later, my brain was like, fuck that. What the fuck were we thinking? But if you start small, make those small steps, kind of like I did, and I was like, all right, step one, start tracking calories. And then that led to, well, in the grand scheme of things, step two, I was like, okay, let's make sure we're hitting our protein. That way, I've heard I'll probably feel a little bit better. And then I did. And then eventually I just started tracking my macros. And then I became a calorie counting, body fat burning machine. You know, it just became something I did. Just like you don't have to ask a fish to swim. It's just what it does. So start small, and remember, when you do each one of those small steps, now you might tell me, Dillon, really make a goal to open up your textbook? That sounds stupid. Well, what do you have to lose? Like, literally nothing. Plus, when you frame the process like that into small goals, you're successful the whole time. I was successful every pound I lost because I didn't place the success on the end goal. I placed the success on every moment that I followed the process. And it's in doing that that actually made me enjoy said process, which is kind of my next point. Make sure that you find a way to enjoy the process. Julian told me he hates reading. I hate reading too, but I do love to learn. So I'll read in order to learn, if that makes sense. And there's always a way. Text to speech, read a small amount at a time. Just tell yourself you're going to learn one new thing today. And just learn one new thing. And then eventually, you're like, okay, I can learn one new thing in like 5 minutes. So let's learn 2 new things. Let's lock in 2 new pieces of class material, or let's knock out 2 steps in order to get to where I want to be, just like I did. I started with just the calories, and then I was like, all right, let's start tracking protein. Next thing you know, I had a food scale, and then next thing you know, again, here I am sitting right in front of you with a 6-pack. So, long story short, the hardest part is starting. And then when you do start, you don't have to start at full throttle. And number 3, make sure you like driving. Make sure you like driving towards your goal. Or walking, whatever method of transportation you prefer. Because it doesn't matter how fast you go. It just matters that you go. But that's all I got for today. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Well, yeah. It throws me off sometimes because I'm a day ahead. But you'll watch this tomorrow while I'm skating. And I'm going to try to live stream at the rink. I don't know. I'm probably going to leave the rink a little early just because I got training tomorrow at 9:30. And I'm a double, so I gotta be at work all day. But I gotta go eat some food. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.